What's going on, guys? Emmanuel right here. Welcome to the YouTube channel, and in today's video we're going to be talking about 5 common mistakes traders make. Regardless of if you're a beginner or you've been within the trading space for quite some time, there are mistakes that we do from time to time, and some of this might not be intentional. But then one of the most common mistakes that beginners do is strategy hopping, jumping from one trading concept to the other, and not giving themselves enough time to develop their skills while learning how to trade and testing a few things here and there before probably they drop a strategy if that strategy is not actually resonating with them. If you're new to the YouTube channel, make sure you are subscribed, turn on the notification, hit the bell icon so that you also be notified when we drop new videos like this, and stay tuned. Let's get down to the video. So basically, one of the first common mistakes traders make is lack of clarity, right? Now, clarity is like a byproduct from knowing what you're looking for in the market, understanding your game plan, your trading plan, and also what you've been journaling so far. Clarity comes from defining and describing what your setup looks like, what time frames are you looking at to execute, what time zone are you going to use. Is it your London time zone, New York session, or Asian session? Again, are you the type of person that you want to trade news events, or do you want to stay off news events? Now, clarity is going to describe all of these components, and the major key components that will help you have this clarity is your trading plan. Now, your trading plan has to do with describing your setup, what your setup looks like. Now, your setup could play out or present itself in different kind of variations. It could come out in different ways. Now, having that clear understanding of how this setup looks like, what are the things that could come together to create that setup? Like, are you the type that trades within the order block? Are you the type that trades break and retest? Are you the type that uses fair value gap? Those kinds of things you need to clearly understand the description of how these things look like, so that when you see them on your chart, you understand that that, oh, this is my setup. And if this thing happens to be your setup, you also need to understand that, okay, this setup, is it still within the building phase? Has it fully built up the all of the things you're looking at? Is it around the time when you're supposed to execute, or do you have to wait for it to fully materialize? These are things that you need to clearly understand. The components of your trading setups, the time zone which these trading setups are very effective, and also your entry type. Okay, now for traders, right, we know that we all have various types of entry. There are those people who want to take entry very early on. There are traders who want to take a late entry when they want to get a clear sense of direction of if the market is ready to move or not. And there are those traders who likes to use pending orders. If you're the kind of person that likes using pending orders, you know that you need to take out time to experiment and test how these pending orders usually get triggered. Do they get triggered and take you into straight to loss? Do they get triggered and keep you around the entry for some time before it picks off? Stuffs like that. Or are you the kind of trader that likes taking instant market execution? So for me, I usually like taking the market execution. Why? Because I want to observe the market real time, take a look at what's happening. Is this trade now aligning with my confirmations, my confluence, and then I'll execute manually. I don't use pending orders while trading, and I have my reasons which I've explained, and also other things that could also factor in that. Okay, probably the market could just tap into the entry and change the setup or change bias and all of those kind of things, right? So clarity is very, very important. Now, the second common mistake traders make is lack of confidence. Now, confidence in itself is also a byproduct of various things like having enough chart time, also backtesting effectively, knowing what you're looking for on your charts. Now, let's take a look at backtesting. Now, backtesting is more like quote unquote past questions. Now, let's say you're preparing for an exam that you want to write. We all know that these exams are exams that have been ongoing for years. Even with some of them are exams that have been, in existence even before you're born, right? Now, you now preparing to sit for this exam, one of the major resources you fall back to is, looking at your past question. Now, your past question is going to give you a hint, an idea of how questions are being, created or formulated for that exam, areas or topics which don't get missed every single year, and other components like that. Now, when it comes to trading, you have data that you can see on your charts on your screen, and this data is free of charge. You can see them on your chart, and you can go as far back as even 10 years before when you're backtesting. Now, what you want to focus on while backtesting is you look at the last 3 months of how the market has behaved, how the market has been able to build up your setup, and if this setup happens to fully materialize, how does this setup behave before it hits your stop loss? How does this setup behave before it gets into take profit? And also, how does this setup behave before it hits break even? At times, we can close a trade with break even, not with a loss or profit. Now, also have in mind that while you're backtesting, you are essentially simulating the market, not a real-time trading event. Factors that could also be in the backtest is there are news events that could have triggered certain momentum in the market that you also need to factor in or also consider, right? The other component you need to look at while backtesting is having in mind that the market will not move at that pace which you're seeing your replay 2 bar is playing out. You're going to be in the market real time, and you know that the market needs to do its thing by moving the way it wants to move. Have in mind also that backtesting is not an exact replica of what you've seen that happened before that's going to happen. It's an idea of what has happened in the past that you use that as a major milestone or like description of what to expect. Okay, now the other thing we want to take a look at, which is very important while backtesting, is you need to take those screenshots of before and after. The before is how the setup was, and after is after the market has played out. Now, the before and after has things like the entry description. The entry description has to be broken down into maybe an early entry, a late entry, or an entry that is like just real time, like the entry that is like you came in at the right time. Now, this description of various types of entry also help you manage those trade positions as well. Now, there's a difference between forecasting a trade and allowing the trade to build up, and also being in that trade and managing that trade all through to the end. These are different components of handling a particular trade as a trader. Now, having enough chart time, like I said earlier, is going to give you real-time experience of how these things work, how they build up, and how they play out in general. Now, the third common mistakes traders make, or bad habits that we traders have, is patience. We lack patience most of the time. Now, patience could be as a result of not having enough data to back up what you're looking out for. Like I said earlier with the previous point, if you've backtested enough, you know or have an idea of what to expect, right? Now, patience will come in if you've had an idea of what to expect. Now, with you having in mind of what to expect, it's going to make it easier for you to be able to wait for the setup to build up and play out within its own kind of volatility or time, or how it chooses to play out. The market is the market. You can't force the market to do or move in a certain way. You have to be patient enough to allow things to play out and materialize as a trader. Now, patience could also play a good part when you are holding a running trade. The running trade, especially when it's a trade that is running in profit, you need to be patient enough to read in between the lines if you are to cut off that trade, if the market is shifting momentum, or if you're to cut off a loss when a loss is still early on and you spot that the market is shifting momentum. You need to be able to read in between the lines as a trader. Now, the fourth common mistake is compounding losses, or allowing losses to grow into something that it's not what you are expecting. Now, forecasting and doing proper analysis before taking your trades are very important. Now, with your analysis in place, you know areas where you're supposed to cut your losses and not just randomly, extending your stop loss for random reasons or just flimsy reasons that okay, you're hoping the market will turn and you keep shifting your stop loss after you've entered the position. That's a very bad habit. So what you want to do is stick to analysis, try and be confident with yourself, give yourself enough time. You're going to make mistakes, that's for sure. You're going to take bad trades, that's for sure. Winning trades will also come, that's for sure. However, what we want to do is want to reduce our losses and amplify where we are winning and let our winners run. So trading your stop loss or moving your stop loss way above where you've already designated is not a good idea, except you've already stomached the risk that okay, this trade I forecasted I'm going to be losing $500, but because the market is temporarily pulling back, you want to adjust it and stick to that adjustment. If it plays out, it goes well. If it doesn't, you cut that trade short, and not having the habit of recurring losses or carrying your stop losses and moving it above. That's something that you want to stay away from. Now, as for building up your confidence, like we talked earlier from the previous points here, backtesting will help you build your confidence. Having enough chart time also help you build your confidence as well, and also being able to execute these trades real time, allowing it to play out, and going through your journal to read through your data and see what you're doing well and what you're not doing well. Now, the last point is strategy hopping. Strategy hopping is something that is very common with beginners. Beginners usually are impatient to allow themselves absorb knowledge or learn a particular concept, giving it enough time for you to see the highs, the lows, and in betweens. Now, every strategy has its time when it's performing very well. It also has its downtime. It also has its struggling moments where you have break-evens and you're doing the break-even dance and all of those things. No strategy is superior, and no strategy will give you 100 win rates all the time. It does not exist. So what you're going to do as a beginner is you give yourself enough time, experience all the market cycle when it comes to trading a particular strategy. Experience when the strategy is giving you consistent profit. Experience when the strategy is not consistent with the profits, when it's giving you losses, and when it's giving you mixed signals. Now, when you've experienced all these 3 cycles as a trader, you'll be able to take out enough data and look at those trades you've been taking so far, and you decide, okay, if you can keep on trading that particular strategy, or if you want to add something to it, take something from it, or change your strategy as a whole. Like I said earlier, no strategy gives you 100% win rate all the time. It does not exist. Alright guys, so if you find this video helpful, make sure you share to your friends, like our content, drop a comment if there's any major key takeaway or anything you've learned from this video itself. And until next time, keep it simple and make sure you subscribe.